free. And all my life I've been in a war. I guess you can say that. I mean, I was born in a war, came from a war, still transitioning.
For much of her life, Fowsia Musse knew little else but war. But as a Somali immigrant, she has found a more peaceful life in Lewiston, Maine. We spoke with her in her busy Lewiston, Maine office, overlooking a street full of busy downtown traffic. A few days after she was born, Ethiopian warplanes attacked her home in Somalia. As her family fled, she was separated from her mother.
And a lot of people ran to the bushes for days and days. My mom had me when she was barely 16. So she was hungry, she was starving, I was a baby, she was a baby. She thought that a full moon, she thought the moon will mark where she placed me. So she put me somewhere, thought that the moon will be literally standing there. So she used the moon as a marker, because she was that little, to look for the water. So she left me there and couldn't find me. What she told me was almost the half of the night. And when she found it, she said I was barely moving my feet.
And when she was 5, her family again had to flee their home during a raid that left vivid memories.
I was a kid. I was just hearing thunder and light, no different than any other time. Well, my mom had her suspicions. I don't know why. I'm assuming simply because she already knew what war sounded like. So she was more, suspicious and more unease by the lightning and stuff. So she kept repeatedly asking my father, who seemed to be worrisome of something, because he was pacing back and forth, walking around. And she asked him, I feel like there's more to it than the lightning tonight. Then my dad placed me and my sister at built-in closets in their bedroom. This time, I myself can feel there's something wrong, because I can hear loud noises. Our living room was shaking. The bedroom we're in was literally shaking. You can see the sand fall everywhere. And it was dark moon, so I come out of it. I sneak out behind, and I look up on the sky, and it was beautiful. I guess it was guns cover, bullets. And I see pink, light pink, I see white, and it sounds like a popcorn, like pop, 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 pop. And then once in a while, you hear the missile. You don't see it physically or visually, but you hear the sound.
Musse's family was separated. She and her family, both injured, walked and caught rides into Ethiopia, arriving, she says, as nomads. She believed her mother was dead, but one day spotted her in the town where they were staying.
My dad cut my hair. I had a short hair, looked a little bit malnourished, tiny frame of body. I'm sitting there under a little hot, cross my legs, and I'm drinking a little tea, and there's 2 cars. It looks like the Greyhound station of that little village. Those cars are leaving, and I'm looking at this woman that's holding this girl that's in her about 3 years old in her hand, and they're walking. I'm looking at her like, she looks very familiar. She looks like my mother. I'm like, Mommy, and she doesn't hear me, and I repeat, and then she wouldn't hear me, so I call by her name, and then she stands and looks at me, and I got close to her, but she was very hesitant because she couldn't recognize me. I was a little bit unrecognizable because I no longer had a long hair. I didn't look the same. She left me. So finally she comes close, and yeah, that's how I found her.
Musse says life in Ethiopia was even more frightening than in Somalia. There were human rights violations and genocide, and there was thirst.
You walk hours and hours to get a well of water that was salty and nasty. Sometimes it would be a reservoir, natural rain. Other times it was people who stayed water, but I do remember water was always the problem.
When she was 12, she had the opportunity to leave Ethiopia and come to the United States, where she encountered a very different culture.
We have this notion that everybody who lives in America were living in a Hollywood hilltop, and everybody was well off in life, and yeah. When we get there, we will be by the beachfront water, and we'll have umbrellas overhead, and we'll be sipping margaritas. I don't know. We were told in the orientation that things like Americans have the tendency to chew gum a lot. They also display public affection. So if you do see people kissing, don't stare at them. It's offense. We were told that Americans express themselves a bit loudly, so verbally though, but so don't be aggressive physically. You can always fight verbal to verbal, but because where we came from is always about physical, less verbal, more physical, you know. So this time around, we were told that Americans are all about verbal, just don't have air, so don't fight back.
In 1995, Musse left San Diego, first for Atlanta, and a few months later arrived in Lewiston, Maine. But whether it was Eastern Africa or Lewiston, dealing with what she calls ignorance and fear of the unknown has always been a challenge.
I remember when we arrived in Ethiopia, and the towns that we arrived were all, if not, Somalis. Their language spoken was Somali, their religion was Somali. They have the same color as me. I remember when the influx refugees from Somalia showed up, little kids and the locals will throw stones at us and will tell us to go back. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's no different in here. When somebody faces an uncertainty or something new, the fear of the unknown is always there. I don't care where you're from. The difference in here is the color.
As a young girl, Musse once dressed Gothic, but when she began doing advocacy work in the Somali community, she began wearing the more traditional Muslim hijab. In high school, she was fascinated with a variety of subjects, including Leonardo da Vinci and the American Constitution. She has pursued her education studying psychology and currently works on a lead prevention project in Lewiston. Even though she has left war behind as a child, she still carries some of the scars of that war.
I carried a lot of other people's pain. I carried the world pain on my shoulders a lot.
For Immigrant Voices, I'm Keith Ludden.